All right. Black Friday fanatics, deal seekers, and everyone in between, buckle up.
Yeah,
We're diving deep into the heart of this shopping phenomenon.
that's right.
We all know the chaos, the pre-dawn lines, the online cart battles, the thrill of snagging that coveted item. But have you ever stopped to wonder how this whole thing began?
Hmm.
The story might surprise you.
It's true. The roots of Black Friday are far from the digital shopping carts and mega sales we see today. It all started with, get this, a football game.
No way!
Yeah.
Seriously, tell me more.
Picture this. 1950s Philadelphia.
Okay.
The annual Army-Navy football game is on, and the city is absolutely flooded with fans. We're talking massive crowds, traffic jams for miles, the works.
Okay, I can see where this is going. It's the day after the game that things get interesting,
You
right?
got it. The Philadelphia police coined the term Black Friday to describe the day after the game. It was utter mayhem for them, a logistical nightmare. Crowd control became their top priority.
Wow. From a day of football frenzy to, well, the shopping frenzy we know today, how did that even happen?
It's a classic case of businesses spotting an opportunity. By the 1980s, retailers realized they had a captive audience. People were already out and about, primed for the excitement.
Right.
So they capitalized on it, offering deals and promotions to entice those crowds into their stores.
A brilliant, albeit slightly manipulative, marketing strategy. It's amazing how quickly it caught on.
It really is.
Speaking of catching on, there's that other term we hear tossed around, Cyber Monday?
Right.
Is that just Black Friday's digital cousin?
In a way, yes. Traditionally, Black Friday was all about brick-and-mortar stores, those doorbuster deals designed to get people rushing through the doors. Cyber Monday, however, emerged with the rise of online shopping, offering a digital counterpart to the in-person frenzy.
So instead of battling for parking spots, you're battling for website loading speeds. But those lines are blurring now, aren't they? I feel like I see Black Friday deals online weeks in advance.
You're absolutely right. The lines are definitely blurring. Today, many retailers offer deals both online and in-store, often spanning several days or even weeks. It's less about a single day and more about a shopping season that kicks off with Black Friday.
Okay, so it's less about which Friday it is and more about a strategic game plan.
Right.
But before we get into all the ins and outs of Shopping Smart, there's one more thing I'm curious about. Why Black Friday? What's the story behind the name?
Well, it actually links back to money, though not in the way you might think.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me everything.
Think back to old-fashioned accounting ledgers. Losses were recorded in red ink, while profits were recorded in black ink.
Uh-huh.
Black Friday was, for many businesses, the day they went from being in the red to in the black. It was the day they started making a profit, and a significant one at that.
Uh-huh. The light bulb just went off. Black Friday signifies the day when businesses see those profits rolling in. That's fascinating. And it makes total sense. But hold on, we've been talking about this as an American tradition. Is Black Friday a global phenomenon? Do people in other countries experience the shopping frenzy?
It absolutely is. Black Friday has become a global event, though it looks a little different depending on where you are.
Okay, I'm ready for a whirlwind tour. Give me all the global Black Friday highlights.
Let's start with the UK since they've really embraced Black Friday. Interestingly, it's become even more online-centric there than in the US.
Really?
Yeah.
So less about braving the crowds and more about having lightning-fast internet on your phone.
Exactly. They do still have in-person sales, but the online deals are what really dominate.
Makes sense, though, right?
Smaller geographic area means people are used to doing more online.
That's a really good point. Okay, where else are we headed on our global shopping spree?
Northward to Canada.
Yeah.
Now, our neighbors to the north get a double dose of shopping madness, because in addition to Black Friday, they also celebrate Boxing Day on December 26th.
Whoa. Back-to-back shopping holidays. That's intense. But for savvy shoppers, it's like a gold mine of potential savings.
You got it. It creates a really interesting dynamic for both shoppers and retailers in Canada. They've got to be strategic about how they space out those deals and capitalize on those shopping surges.
This is fascinating. Okay, one more stop on our global Black Friday tour. Where are we headed next?
How about a trip across the equator to Brazil? Black Friday is a relatively recent arrival there, but it's gained huge popularity. What's interesting is that they often stretch it out over several days, sometimes even an entire week of deals.
Wow. So instead of a Black Friday, it's like a Black Friday week. That gives shoppers a little more breathing room, I guess, to actually browse and compare prices.
Precisely. It's a different kind of strategy, and it seems to be working for them.
It really highlights how Black Friday has taken on a life of its own, adapting and evolving depending on where it lands. It's not just a copy and paste phenomenon.
Exactly. And that evolution speaks to something we need to address, the environmental impact of all this shopping frenzy. Because while deals are exciting, we also have to consider the sustainability aspect.
You're absolutely right. We can't ignore the fact that all this consumption has consequences. What are some of the concerns surrounding Black Friday and its environmental impact?
Well, think about it. The production of goods, the packaging, the shipping, even the disposal of items that end up unwanted. It all adds up.
Yeah.
Black Friday, with its emphasis on mass consumption, can put a strain on resources and contribute to waste.
It's that classic dilemma, right? We want to save money and get a good deal, but not at the cost of the planet.
Exactly. But here's the good news. There's a growing awareness of these issues, and many people are looking for more sustainable ways to participate in Black Friday.
Tell me more about that. I've heard the term Green Friday tossed around, but I'm not entirely sure what it means. Fill me in.
Green Friday is a movement that encourages a more conscious and sustainable approach to Black Friday. It's about considering the environmental and social impact of our purchases.
Okay, so it's not about boycotting Black Friday altogether, but about changing how do we shop, right?
You got it. For some people, Green Friday might mean supporting businesses that prioritize ethical sourcing and sustainable practices. For others, it might mean buying less overall or focusing on experiences rather than material goods.
I love that. It's about aligning our values with our shopping habits even, or maybe especially, during something as commercially driven as Black Friday.
And here's a thought to consider. Some companies are using Green Friday as an opportunity to promote their sustainability initiatives, perhaps donating a portion of their profit to environmental causes or highlighting their eco-friendly product lines.
Now that's a win-win. Shoppers feel good about their purchases, businesses get to showcase their commitment to sustainability, and the planet benefits. Okay, listeners, are you taking notes? This is how we shop smart A&D ethically.
And it's not just about what you buy, but also where you buy it. Consider supporting local businesses, especially those that prioritize sustainable practices. Remember, every dollar you spend is a vote for the kind of world you want to live in.
So well said. Okay, so we've established that we need to be mindful of the environmental impact of our Black Friday shopping, but let's be honest. Sometimes those deals are just too good to resist.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you. But here's the thing. Even if we do indulge in a little Black Friday shopping, there are still ways to do it strategically and safely, especially in the digital age.
That's a perfect segue because we need to talk about online shopping safety. With so many transactions happening online, particularly during Black Friday, what are some things our listeners should keep in mind to protect themselves?
You're absolutely right to bring that up. It's crucial to be vigilant, especially when it comes to online shopping.
So let's talk digital security. What are some red flags to watch out for?
For starters, always, and I mean always make sure you're shopping on secure websites. Look for that little padlock icon in the address bar
Right.
and double check that the website address starts with HTTPS.
Yeah.
That S is for secure.
Okay, that's an easy one to check. What about those deals that seem too good to be true? Are they always a scam, or is there a chance we might stumble upon a hidden gem?
It's a bit of both, to be honest.
Yeah.
A healthy dose of skepticism is always a good thing, especially during Black Friday when scammers often try to take advantage of the hype. If a deal seems outrageously low, trust your gut.
Yeah.
It's probably too good to be true.
So common sense prevails. Now, you mentioned secure websites. What about those emails we all get, the ones with subject lines screaming, Black Friday deals, click here. Are those ever safe to open?
That's a great question. Phishing scams are unfortunately common during Black Friday, and those emails can be tempting. Here's a good rule of thumb. If you didn't specifically sign up for emails from a particular retailer, don't click on links in unsolicited emails, even if they look legitimate. It's always safer to go directly to the retailer's website.
That's such a good point. It's better to be safe than sorry, especially when it comes to our personal information. Okay, so we've covered the online front. But let's not forget about those brave souls who venture out into the brick-and-mortar madness. What are some tips for navigating in-person Black Friday sales safely?
First and foremost, be prepared for crowds. And I mean serious crowds. Have a plan. Know what you're looking for and where it's likely to be located within the store. And for goodness sake, be kind to retail workers. Remember, they're working incredibly hard, often on very little sleep.
Such an important reminder. A little kindness goes a long way, especially amidst the Black Friday frenzy. And on that note, let's take a moment to appreciate those who keep the wheels turning during this retail roller coaster, the retail workers themselves.
Absolutely. Black Friday wouldn't be possible without the thousands of retail workers who stock shelves, man registers, and assist customers, often under immense pressure. So to all the retail heroes out there, we salute you.
Here, here. But beyond the people on the front lines, Black Friday is also a fascinating study in consumer behavior, wouldn't you say? It's like this collective experience that reveals so much about our wants, needs, and sometimes even our vulnerabilities.
You're absolutely right. Black Friday taps into something deep within our psyche, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The thrill of the hunt, the desire for a good deal, even the fear of missing out. The fascinating mix of psychology, economics, and even a bit of sociology.
And speaking of psychology, let's talk about the psychology behind those irresistible deals, because we've all been there, those moments when our rational mind goes out the window and we're suddenly adding things to our cart that we didn't even know we needed.
Oh, absolutely. It's like retailers have a secret playbook of psychological tactics designed to loosen our grip on our wallets.
Okay, so retailers are using psychology to make us spend more. What can we do about it?
Well, the first step is simply being aware of these tactics. Knowledge is power, right? Once you understand how retailers are trying to influence you, you can start to make more conscious decisions.
So it's like knowing the rules of the game before you start playing. It doesn't mean you won't enjoy the game, but it does mean you're less likely to get played.
Exactly. And here's another tip. Set a budget beforehand, and I mean a real budget. Not just a vague idea of how much you want to spend, but a specific number.
I'm a huge fan of lists, so I'm all about that budgeting strategy. Do you have any other tips for resisting those tempting deals and sticking to our budgets?
One thing that can be helpful is to prioritize your shopping list. Figure out what you absolutely need and what you simply want. And then, if you have to make cuts, start with the wants category.
That's really smart. Prioritize needs over wants. Okay, that's practical advice for any shopping trip, but especially during Black Friday when those deals can feel so urgent. But before we wrap up our deep dive, I want to come back to something we've touched on a few times, the bigger picture of Black Friday. It's not just about snagging a good deal, it's also about being mindful of the impact of our purchases, both socially and environmentally.
Absolutely. We have more power than we realize as consumers. Our choices matter.
So how can we use that power for good, especially during something as commercially driven as Black Friday?
It starts with asking questions. Where were the products made? Were workers treated fairly? What is the company's environmental track record?
Those are such important questions to ask, but sometimes it feels like that information is hard to find.
You're right, it's not always readily available. But here's the good news. There are more and more resources available to help conscious consumers make informed choices.
Like what? Give us some examples.
Well, there are websites and apps that rate companies based on their ethical and sustainability practices. You can also look for certifications like Fair Trade, Organic, or B Corp, which indicate that a company meets certain social and environmental standards.
Okay, so we can arm ourselves with information before we shop. But it's not just about researching companies, right? It's also about changing our mindset.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's about shifting from a mindset of more is more to a more mindful approach, asking ourselves if we truly need something before we buy it.
I love that. It's about asking, do I need this? Or do I just want this because it's on sale? That's a question we could all ask ourselves more often, not just during Black Friday.
Exactly. Black Friday can be a good reminder to pause and reflect on our consumption habits. But ideally, we carry that mindfulness with us throughout the year.
That's a perfect note to end on. So as we head into the heart of Black Friday, remember, shop smart, shop sustainably, and most importantly, shop with intention. Every purchase is a vote for the kind of world we want to create.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
A huge thank you to you, expert speaker, for sharing your incredible insights with us today. And to our amazing listeners, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of Black Friday. We've explored the history, the psychology, the global impact, and the evolving nature of this shopping phenomenon. Now go forth and make informed, empowered choices. Until next time, happy, mindful shopping.